Welcome back, you guys. I'm so busy being chatty Kathy because our next guest is somebody who's warm and fabulous and somebody you want to sit and have chatty Kathy time with. I'm talking about Vanessa Leonard. She's an educational therapist. It's slightly different. She's a clinical behaviorist and educational therapist that offers both services to both adults and children of all ages with learning and behavioral challenges. I can't talk anymore. She has a BA in psychology with a double minor in applied developmental psychology and education and information studies from UCLA. She's got a master's in education from Loyola Marymount, so she's qualified and been busy. And she's currently serving clients in the Los Angeles area. So Vanessa Leonard, welcome to Autism Live.
Thank you for having me.
We're really thrilled to have you and want to talk about a bunch of different things, but excited that you're here. Let's start though by telling people if they're in the Los Angeles area and want to get in touch with you, would like to participate in some of the services that you have, where could they find you?
You can easily find me at Educational Therapy on Instagram. It's a great, I'm very active on there and I love posting about special needs and all kinds of study tips actually for people all over the spectrum. And then I also have a website, VanessaLeonardScarborough.com, and you can find me there.
All right, and before we're done, and maybe now is a good time to do it. Like, this covers this is a wide variety, but what kinds of things would bring someone to your office? What kinds of things do you specialize in?
I primarily work with people that have a cluster. So it could be autism with ADHD or autism with ADHD, ADD, both. And I also work with gifted clients that their parents are frustrated because they have them in a school and the school just isn't meeting their needs because it isn't challenging enough. So trying to kind of bring them to the next level in their learning and education-wise makes a huge difference.
What a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. That's fabulous. So one of the things that we wanted to talk to you about specifically was the stigma of having a behaviorist in the classroom. Because I know a lot of people are like, well, we can talk to them. People write in the show and say, what do I do about this? And we say, well, here's the step. And they go, oh, if it's in the classroom, I don't want to ask for anything. I don't want to tick anybody off. I don't want to have anybody there that identifies my child as being different, and they kind of shut down because there is a stigma they feel.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about what your point of view on that is.
I guess it's so much more prevalent now in our society that there's so many more either, one-on-ones in the classroom facilitators, behaviorists. There's just a lot more adults in the classroom.
Yeah.
And I think that our kids, especially in high school, they're so much older than they were when we were young. They're into social media, And I think that having a behaviorist can make them feel like, I don't know, is everyone looking at me? Why do I need this special help? And so I think the best thing is to collaborate. Everybody has to be a team, including the parent, the principal, the service provider, and to communicate a lot and to make that adult in the classroom kind of serve everybody, because then that student doesn't feel so stigmatized.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. So a way of, and I do think, gosh, I'm all about inclusion when possible.
Sure.
Right? And although I remember somebody explaining to me, Shannon, you're about inclusion because you think it's going to be good inclusion. And that often we have people who don't understand how to do good inclusion. So what you have is somebody who stands directly over the child and over prompts. Oh. And I think that's the thing that everybody's so concerned about, right? But the picture that you're painting is vastly different. Talk about what you think it looks like in a classroom.
Because I think the facilitated help in the classroom is about access to the curriculum, but without being overbearing, like you're saying, hovering over, helicoptering, and but I think now, especially in older children, the teachers in the classroom are making more group work.
Yes.
So I think in those situations, it's much more easier for the adult to blend in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I also know an area of expertise for you is that whole transition from high school to adult life. We have a lot of viewers who have questions about that, about like, do I send my child to a trade school? Do I send them to a college program, and which college program, depending on how, So talk to us a little bit about what you...
I think that there's just so much ease during the school years when you can send your child to school and okay, I'm sending them for the day, they're going to have a great day, and there's that ease of picking up at the end of the day. But then you're faced with, okay, we're coming close to graduation, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I think 16 is that imperative age where you need to come up with a plan. Are they going to go to a group home? Are they going to have a day program and employment? Are they going to go to school? And what are the realistic plans for going to school? Do they need support at school? And I think really reaching out to your community is really going to help that transition, and to be realistic and to not put too much pressure on yourself as a parent, but just take it as it comes. Yeah.
I so appreciate you hearing you say those things, because I know a lot of people, I mean, in very real terms, my son is 16 and a half, right? I'm very fortunate that my son got everything that like anybody could need and did very well with it. So let's say that we worked hard and got very lucky. So I had the time when he was 14 to sort of look ahead.
Sure.
And go, oh, where are we going? Where are we trying to get to? And he was sending me signals saying, this is what I want to do. So I just want to be clear that I'm stupid lucky, and I'm in total gratitude, and that is not everybody else's story. And I have lots of friends that is not their story, where when their kiddos were 14, they were still trying to figure out the 14, so they didn't have the time to look at what's happening at 16 and what's happening at 18.
Right.
And a lot of times that's sort of the thing, right? So you don't have the time, so now all of a sudden it's 16 or about to graduate, and they're like, I don't know.
Right, and really narrowing down what are those vocational interests, and maybe taking like a battery of tests to figure out what are they truly interested in. Because sometimes like as adults and being typical, we don't even know sometimes what we wanted to do when we were young. And saying, oh, they're going to be employed, that could be volunteer work. It could be 3 hours a week. It doesn't have to be this 40-hour-a-week job that most of us have. It can be something small, but those are stepping stones to something much greater.
Well, and I love comparing it to, because we all went through that phase at some point, right? Everybody. And one of the things that I think we leave out when it's our young adults on the autism spectrum is that, maybe you don't know exactly what the right answer is, but you try something. And if it doesn't work, you can change your mind again.
That's right.
Right? And a lot of times we think, well, no, we made that plan. It's got to work. I don't have a plan B. We can't change it to something else. But and in fact, everybody that I know, everyone on the spectrum, not on the spectrum, had at least some moment in their life where they were like, yeah, I planned that, but that's not working out the way I thought it was. It's not what I thought it was going to be, and so now I'm going to go do this. That's okay.
Yeah, changing paths is, really acceptable. I think it's a good thing.
But what do you tell them to do when people are looking? Like, what are the things so if they think, okay, let's just take, for instance, that we've got a young person who's got some issues that they're going to need some support.
Right.
But they say, I want to own a pet store. Right? And the person goes, I don't know, where do you send somebody to start that? What kinds of things can they go to look at if they're just because they could go to a trade school and learn some things from there.
So you've got an example of an interest. Okay,
Right.
so working with animals and owning a pet shop, which is a wonderful, fantastic, huge goal, right?
Yeah.
Love it. Volunteer at a shelter, the Humane Society, and you can actually just take dogs on walks during the day, just kind of like getting a feel for it, and then maybe getting a job pet sitting.
There you go.
And just keep building on that little by little, and then you can just like how people started babysitting, and then they have a nanny agency. It's starting small and then building upon it. Yeah.
Which leads me to our next question, which is how to be an advocate for your own child, family, when you have an individual in your family who has got an autism diagnosis. Like, what do you recommend to us how to be the best advocate? Because a lot of us are advocating, but we're not necessarily being the best advocate that we could be. We spin our wheels sometimes.
Don't we? Yeah. I think that this is one of the benefits of social media today, is that we can reach out to people all over the world to support us. And I think that speaking with your school psychologist, maybe your own child psychologist that you have, you know, the resource teacher, just every single person to network with, so that you're aware of every single possibility and how to support your child, but at the same time being realistic and setting boundaries with time, because you can get so involved at this that you're not caring for yourself, which makes you a poor advocate. So I think it's all about self-care and networking and boundaries.
Oh, I love that. And so when you have clients that come to you, do you also advise the parents about how to advocate?
I do, because I get a lot of questions on who's the best specialist for specific things. Yeah.
Do you keep like a list of people that you recommend?
I do.
We all like to have that.
I just wish they were all close to where the clients are, because, you know, distance is always a problem.
I have said for years, one of the things that I wished we could do, and it's still in the back of my mind, is that because we have viewers from all over the world, right? But primarily here in the United States, that's our biggest viewership. And it's so different from state to state. What's available in terms of funding and specialists and who to go to. And I wish that we had somebody in every state that, because you know that there are moms who know this information. Like, here's who you go to, here's the dentist, here's the person who cuts the hair. I wish that we had somebody on the ground in every state who could give us the skinny on all that information, you know, at a moment's notice.
Like a special needs directory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And several places have tried to start a special needs directory, and that's a huge undertaking.
It is.
That's a huge undertaking.
Because there's so many providers and so many specialists that, you know, it's just so
and a lot of
huge.
it is opinion driven,
Yes.
right? So
I agree.
But you know, I love dropping in on different groups, like and different on different websites, but in particular, Taka has a lot of groups that they have their coffee talk groups, and you can drop in and ask, and there's a group of 20 people, and they will tell you exactly, you know, who to go to, where to go to.
Which is wonderful.
And you don't get just one opinion, you get 20 opinions. But I'm sure that they would want to know your opinions about who these people are. So again, where can people reach you?
At Educational Therapy, that's my Instagram handle, and also my website is VanessaLeonardScarborough.com.
It's very hip of you that it's the first answer is Instagram. I don't pretend to understand Instagram. I have to keep young people working on my team because I don't get the whole Instagram thing. So very hip and fabulous of you that that's the first thing. Boy, I'm impressed. One last question for you.
Of course.
Why this field? Why did you get into this?
You know, it's funny you say that, because it was during my undergraduate career, and I happened to fall in a series with Dr. Ivar Lovas, and he just made me fall in love with it, and I discovered a special patience that I had with this community that I don't have in other areas of my life. So I thought, this is my calling.
I love that.
Most definitely.
What a wonderful one. Well, I'm so glad that you discovered that. And doesn't that make everybody happy to know that there are people that do have special patience? Not patience as in patience that you're clients, patience as in the ability to just hang and be there and be with someone and let them be who they are.
To not get flustered and to remain calm.
Yeah. I love that. Absolutely love that. Well, thank you. We're richer for having you in our community.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you guys, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back to close out the show. Stick with us. Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.